Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button if you guys are fans of the content being posted onto this channel to always be in the loop with more content similar to this, and be sure to hit the video up with a like if you're enjoying the content. And with that being said, let's begin. So with Resident Evil 8 Village looming over the horizon, scheduled to be released in 2021, our friends over from Biohazard Declassified had actually put out an interesting article prior to Capcom releasing additional information for Resident Evil Village that basically centers itself around what we're going to be experiencing in the upcoming Resident Evil game. And I will say, based on all of the information that's going to be provided, things can change going forward, but according to BiohazardDeclassified.com, when specifically focusing on the enemies of Resident Evil 8 Village, this is what they had to say, and I quote, "The enemies within these areas are very pale, almost rotten skin with tattoos on their foreheads and hands, some with armor, but not like knight armor that can be shot off. They only speak of, quote, normal enemy types in this test, and not of the, quote, werewolf-like creatures we'd spoke on that was shown in the trailer. They do speak in a distorted foreign language. Some carry daggers, swords, axes, and even spears. There are some without armed weapons. They jump and grab and bite similar to Resident Evil 3, and you can button mash to take less damage. Some enemies will throw you onto the ground instead of biting. The one with the sword has a special attack that can instantly behead Ethan, and according to the source, you'll recognize that move once you play the game." So we know now that the enemies are going to be attacking you in various different ways. However, according to BiohazardDeclassified.com, this is what they had to say in regards to the early playtest of Resident Evil 8 Village, and I quote, "Let's break it down. First, let's get the information that we've previously published. The demo was tested in September 2019. It lasted 30 minutes. Ethan Winters, as the playable character, played the village portion of the demo. Knife, pistol, and a shotgun were used. Werewolf-like enemies and pale, rotten enemies who wore armor, sickles, swords, and axes. The old woman accepted money in exchange for information and weapons." Now, what does this mean? That the older lady that we get to see in the Resident Evil Village trailer is in fact going to be, in some way, shape, or form, the merchant that you're going to be speaking with. But speaking of the merchant, we have a little bit of information in regards to who this is, as Biohazard Declassified went along to continue. Now, in the last playtest information we received, we believe we do have a name for at least one of the witches, Olga, and now it seems we do for the old woman merchant as well. The source calls the old woman in the trailer Morgana, and again says that she will exchange money for information and goods. Now, as far as her wares go, it seems she will sell healing items, ammo, weapon parts, specifically mentioned pistol parts, which we did see what appears to be an attachment slot on the Lemmy pistol seen in the inventory screen during the Resident Evil 8 Village special developmental message, and the information she has will also come at a price. Now, it's not like you're just going to be getting items or weapons or weapon parts, but in fact it looks like Morgana is also going to be someone who's going to be selling you information for you to progress throughout the story. So the old woman, it looks like she's not a witch, but in fact she is going to be someone that's going to help you in the story. But in terms of the actual witches, those witches are the three individuals that we saw in the Resident Evil Village trailer. Of course, the ones that were all pretty and dressed up. Of course, the main one having to be Olga, and the witches around her having to be also servants or participants that are going to be a part of this story. So there is more, however, as it goes on to then continue. One specific piece of information she sells, according to our source, is that the castle kept the truth for everything going on in the village. Now, everyone loves to compare Resident Evil Village to 4, and if this one piece is true, it brings that gap just a little bit more. According to our source, during the demo, they were able to find a jewel. They tried to give the merchant the jewel, but she didn't accept it, and apparently she only accepts coins in the demo. So according to this, it looks like whatever the castle is keeping within is actually hiding all of the information and the truth from the public. So it looks like Ethan is going to go about in trying to liberate the people of the village and giving them the truth. However, there is another element to the game, and this element is referred to as the Gorilla Man, as of course Biohazard continues. Now, from werewolves and witches now to a Gorilla Man. Surprisingly, this isn't the first time this term had been used to describe the large weapon-wielding enemy seen in the trailer. In April, Rely on Horror published a rumor article that also referred to a, quote, massive gorilla-like monster man with chains and a staff. staff, and we believe it's safe to assume that these are one and the same. I think it's also important to note that these descriptors, werewolf, witch, like gorilla man, more than likely isn't what these enemies truly are. It's just the best way to currently describe them until their actual types are announced. As it then continues, they describe the Gorilla Man as a large enemy covered in several chains wielding a giant axe. They describe this as being similar to the Executioner of Resident Evil 5. He also screams in agony as if asking for help, probably a victim of the experiments that took place there. Now once again, we are going to battle against said individual. As it goes on to then continue, the battle sequence with the quote Gorilla Man. Our sources describe a sequence in this version of the demo that I'm going to describe as a mix of the cabin sequence from Resident Evil 4 and the public assembly area of Resident Evil 5. During the battle, pale and rotten enemies with axes appear alongside the quote Gorilla Man, who seems to fill the role of a mini-boss at the least. The quote Gorilla Man can kill Ethan with just 3 attacks, in addition to being able to jump and hit or any character with his huge axe. Our source also said that it was worth noting that the werewolf-like enemies are very difficult to hit. They are moving very quickly, and there were several times they ran out of ammo because they missed the targets several times. So this goes as far as to tell us that fighting these enemies isn't going to be as easy as one would assume, because they're fast, they seem to be very agile, and especially for the quote Gorilla Man, he's going to be able to take you down in less than 3 hits. So there's also going to be a special execution that he has that can basically one-shot you in the game. So what this game is basically setting up going forward is an element where you can't really get by these enemies as easy as you would think, because just because you have a shotgun or a pistol or other melee weapons doesn't mean that you're going to overcome these enemies with ease, because it sounds as if these enemies are not only going to be relentless, but they're also going to be very cunning in the fact that if you shoot them, they are going to try to move out the way, and of course if you run into the Gorilla Man, then you're going to face major problems, only because as a mini-boss, he's not going to be easy to take down, and he's eerily similar to the Executioner and the Chainsaw Man that we saw in both Resident Evil 4 and 5, and if that proves to be the case, then this is going to be one enemy that's going to be very difficult to put down. But even then, the game is going to center itself around the mystery factor of what the heck is going on inside that castle, because we really don't know who the prime enemy is going to be. There have been lots of theories and discussions involving the potential of Albert Wesker coming back, even though it has been confirmed that Alex Wesker is going to be in the game, of course, as well as many other enemies that we can count as bosses per se, but we really don't know who's behind anything here. But what we do know for sure is that Chris Redfield is going to be viewed as an enemy to Ethan, which is going to be most interesting because we know that someone's story is going to come to a conclusion, and whether or not that's going to be Chris Redfield or Ethan Winters, we don't know. So there is so much to expect from this title, as of course we are going to be getting additional information going into the month of September, October, because although we don't have a definitive release date for this game other than 2021, we can only speculate that perhaps maybe this game is going to be dropping sometime between the beginning or like the midterm of 2021, so perhaps Q1, Q2, and if that ends up being the case, that's going to be great, and there's going to be so much more added in this game that I really hope they don't give you all of the secrets and all of the information up front, but instead kind of shrouded in mystery for you to actually see within the game. And as of course we get information, we're going to keep you guys updated. But I will say, I am excited only because it looks like this game isn't going to be as easy as you think it is, and that's what makes this actually kind of fun. But by the end of all of this, I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below about all of the information being kept hidden within the castle from the villagers, and your overall thoughts on the enemies, the dynamic system with the merchant, and your overall thoughts and expectations on Resident Evil Village as a whole, because hopefully enough this game is going to deliver on giving us a great horror title and actually immersing us in the game so much so that rumors were actually going about prior to its actual trailer release that this game is going to be very violent and very messed up in so many ways, as well as taking different turns and different directions in terms of its overall story. So that's what I can't wait for this game, to see where we go with Ethan and where we go with Chris. Chris Redfield have been kept in the shadows for now until of course more additional information is presented, so I can't wait to see the overall dynamic aspect in terms of Ethan and Chris together. So again, Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for your time. If, of course, you guys are stoked, ready, and excited for this game, then be sure to give this video a big fat thumbs up by slapping that like button down below. Also, if you guys are new, hit that subscribe button, everybody, and turn on all notifications. Tune back in for the next video because I promise you guys, we are going to be getting new information, and when we do, we are going to be presenting that on the channel, so I can't wait to see what comes out of this. So again, thank you all so much for watching. Tune back in for more, and we'll be seeing each and every single one of you guys down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody, and take care. Peace.